The Vanishing of Maura Murray. A mystery that still haunts. On February 9, 2004, Maura Murray, a 21-year-old nursing student from the University of Massachusetts Amherst, left a trail of questions that still remains unresolved. She vanished without a trace, leaving behind a mystery that has captivated the public and law enforcement for nearly 2 decades. What began as a routine, albeit odd, car accident in the woods of New Hampshire soon spiraled into one of the most perplexing missing person cases in modern history. A picture of Maura Murray. Maura Murray seemed like a typical college student. She was bright, ambitious, and on track to graduate with a degree in nursing. Born on May 4, 1982, in Hanson, Massachusetts, Maura grew up in a supportive family and had a promising future. She was close with her family, particularly her father, Fred Murray, with whom she maintained a strong bond. However, behind the facade of a normal college student, there were signs that Maura was struggling. Maura's life had begun to unravel in the weeks leading up to her disappearance. She had been dealing with personal turmoil, facing academic pressure, a strained relationship, and a history of erratic behavior. She had also been involved in a minor car accident just days before her disappearance, which seemed to have further stressed her. However, it was her abrupt departure from school that would raise the first red flags. The disappearance. The day of Maura Murray's disappearance began like any other. On the morning of February 9, 2004, Maura attended her regular classes at UMass Amherst. However, she made an unusual decision that afternoon. She left without telling anyone where she was going. Maura had been experiencing significant personal issues. Her father had been called to the school just a few days earlier after she was involved in a minor car accident, and she had been caught in an alleged theft of makeup from a store. It was clear that Maura was dealing with a lot emotionally. The stress of her academic workload, her breakup with her boyfriend, and the pressure to perform at school had started to take its toll. Around 1 p.m. on that fateful day, Maura called her father, Fred, and told him she was planning to take a week off from school and drive to the White Mountains in New Hampshire to get away and clear her head. Her father was worried about her but ultimately agreed, assuming that Maura needed some time alone. She didn't tell anyone else about her trip, not even her roommate, who later admitted she had no idea Maura was planning to leave. Maura packed her car, a 1996 Saturn sedan, with clothes and personal items for a short trip. She withdrew about $280 from an ATM, bought some alcohol, and then hit the road. It was later revealed that Maura's destination was the small town of Bartlett, New Hampshire, a remote location she had no clear reason to visit. Some of Maura's friends and family found this unusual. Why would a young woman who had no particular ties to New Hampshire suddenly decide to go there? The accident in Haverhill, New Hampshire. Approximately 4 hours into her drive, Maura's car ended up on the side of Route 112 in Haverhill, New Hampshire. Around 7:27 p.m., a local school bus driver noticed her Saturn on the side of the road, with Maura sitting inside. He stopped to offer help, but she declined and said her car had been in an accident. She told him that she had lost control of the vehicle on the icy road and had crashed into a snowbank. Maura was visibly shaken, but the bus driver noted that she appeared unharmed. The driver left, telling Maura to be careful, and continued on his route. However, shortly thereafter, another motorist called 911 to report Maura's car. The dispatcher noted that the car was locked, but no one was inside. Maura had seemingly vanished without a trace. Law enforcement soon arrived on the scene, finding her car with the headlights still on and the driver's side door open. But there was no sign of Maura. She had disappeared, leaving behind only her belongings and a handful of strange clues. The investigation begins. The police investigation into Maura's disappearance began immediately. They searched the area surrounding the crash site, but no trace of Maura was found. The circumstances surrounding her disappearance raised numerous questions. Why would Maura have left the scene of the accident in such a remote, wooded area without a coat, shoes, or any of her belongings? Her phone was found in the car, but there was no indication that she had used it to call for help. Additionally, there were no signs of a struggle or foul play at the scene. The authorities learned that Maura's father, Fred Murray, had been called to the campus just days before after Maura had been involved in another minor car accident. She had left school to deal with the aftermath, but it was clear she was under significant stress. Her family was also aware of the breakup with her boyfriend, Bill Rausch, who was a military officer stationed out of state. Friends recalled that Maura had been depressed and somewhat detached, which raised the question: was Maura's disappearance the result of a voluntary decision to escape, or had something darker happened? In the initial days following her disappearance, authorities questioned locals in the area. Maura's car had been found near a popular location for hikers and travelers, but none of them recalled seeing anyone in the area. Some speculated that Maura had planned her own disappearance, while others considered the possibility that she had been abducted. Theories and speculations. As time passed, various theories about Maura's disappearance began to surface, many of which centered around Maura's personal life. Some speculated that Maura had been struggling with depression and that her disappearance was a result of her emotional turmoil. Others believed that she had staged her own disappearance, possibly wanting to start a new life or escape the pressures she had been facing. One of the most persistent theories suggested that Maura had been involved in some sort of accident and had wandered off into the woods, either becoming disoriented or succumbing to the cold. Some wondered if she had been injured in the crash and was unable to get help. Other theories were darker. A few suggested that Maura had been the victim of a kidnapping or foul play. Some pointed to her car being found in a remote location and speculated that someone might have taken her. However, no physical evidence of a crime was found, and the investigation into these possibilities stalled. Over time, investigators came across troubling details about Maura's life that raised more questions than answers. They discovered that Maura had purchased alcohol on the day of her disappearance, which led to speculation that she might have been intoxicated when the accident occurred. Some wondered if Maura had been involved in a relationship or circumstances that might have influenced her decision to leave in such a hurried and mysterious manner. A family in crisis. As the weeks turned into months, and then into years, the Murray family continued their search for answers. Fred Murray, Maura's father, became an outspoken advocate for his daughter, tirelessly working to keep the case in the public eye. The investigation into Maura's disappearance, while ongoing, provided few answers, and the family faced frustration as the case seemed to grow colder with time. The police continued to investigate Maura's disappearance, but the lack of evidence and leads made it difficult to make any significant progress. Over the years, several agencies joined the search, including the FBI, but Maura's case remains unsolved to this day. The family continues to hold out hope, despite the many obstacles they have faced in their search for answers.